नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter number 1, verse number 39. So we have been reading about this voice which came from the sky when Kamsa was driving the chariot of newly married Vasudeva and Devaki, and after hearing this he wanted to kill Devaki because that was a danger for his life. He has to protect himself. And then Vasudeva started speaking to him, first praising him, now a little bit of philosophy. So in the previous verse he said everybody has to die. Death is inevitable. So what is the point in killing somebody? Still you will die. Right? Bhakshitaipi lashno nashranta vyadhi. There was a Vaishnava. He had some sickness. He went to the doctor. Doctor said, eat garlic. Your disease will be cured. So he said, well, I am a Vaishnava, we don't eat garlic. He says for health purposes, disease you can take. Like you hear many times devotees talking like that. Right? So he ate, but still his disease was not cured. So Bhakshitaipi lashno Nashranta vyadhi. He ate even garlic, still he did not get cured. So what is the point in eating? He should have actually kept his Vaishnava dharma, not eat. He's still sick, he would have been sick. So he says, what is the point? You are going to kill her and still you will die. If it was assured that by killing her you will not die, then it's worth it. But if you are going to die either way, then why create more bad karma and bring infamy to yourself, to your family, and spoil your next life? They are all disadvantages. When we do something, we should deliberate on its effect, what action we are taking, which most people don't do. They perform actions just because their minds are very limited in thinking. They think of that particular situation. Especially when there is a negative emotion, then mind does not think too far away. When you are angry, when you are in fear, so then what you think is only the current situation. When you are in a good mood, happy mood, then you think of big things. Then you take big picture into consideration. So negative emotion limits you, it closes your heart. Like in Rasa Shastra they say the heart is like a lotus flower. So negative emotions, they close it. When you are in fear, you even become like this, because your heart is getting closed. And when you are in happy mood, then you are open, you walk very openly, right? When you are depressed, you are drooping. Every step is like a heavy thing to take. It's a big effort you want to walk. So negative emotions, they limit our thinking, our brain functions in a different way. When we have positive emotions of joy, of happiness, of love, then mind thinks more broadly and it grows. So when he got the news, or he heard the voice that he will be killed by the eighth son of Devaki, then he is not thinking very deeply. He immediately just wants to kill her. This is the thought which comes, because he is very focused on his own life. He cannot think. So Vasudeva is trying to expand his thinking. That what is the point? So therefore we should take action with proper deliberation. What is the outcome of it? Not just act at the spur of the moment and then repent later on. So he is continuing in the same vein. Dehe panchatvam apanne dehi karmanugo vashaha dehantaram anuprapya praktanam tyajate vapuhu. So he says that this body, which is made of 5 tattvas, so then at the time of death, the 5 elements mix into their 5 elements, panchattvam apanne, and then according to the karmanugo, avasya, helplessly, without any, you don't have any choice at that time. Then according to your karma, you get another body, dehantaram, and you give up the previous one. So he says this happens to everybody. So the only thing which you have control is your action now. So if you do wrong action now, if you do prohibited action, if you do violent action, then you have to suffer later on and you will have no control at that time. So therefore he says, do not do that. So deha prapti tyagau eva jivasya janma mrityu. So what is called birth and death is nothing but acquiring the body and giving up the body. Otherwise the Atma does not die. Tau tu avashyakau eva. And these both are compulsory. There is no alternative for this. There is no choice. As long as you are materially conditioned, you go through this birth and death. Dehe panchatvam mrityum apanne apanna praya dehantaram prapya anupashyat praktanam vapustyasti. So dehe panchatva means death. It comes from the word pancha, 5. Means 5 things go into 5 things. Or pancha also relates to 5 pranas. Your 5 pranas lean. So apanne means sannikate, means nearby. When they are about to leave, dying, then you get another body. It's ready. So nacha visha bhog sadhanam eva deho me nakshati iti vishiditum arhasi ityaha karmanam. So he says that do not think that this body, which is the means for your visha bhoga, for sense enjoyment, that it will be lost. He says you will get another one, don't worry. Because our fear is that I will lose this body. So you will lose it, but you will get another one. It's not that after that there is no more body. So therefore don't be in anxiety for that. Yadi tav sukha bhoga adrishtam asti tarhi tatraiva praptavya dehe eva bhoga bhavishyati iti bhava. So if you have some karma, if you have your fortune to enjoy something, then you will get a corresponding body. It's all the play of karma. So you will get another body, then you will enjoy there. But if you have karma to suffer, then you will suffer there. So suffering and happiness both come to everybody. Although this is also mind's psychology, that it focuses more on the negative things, becomes more occupied by the negative thoughts, and positive situation, positive relations, positive things which are available, it does not pay attention to that. So a little negative thing then becomes occupied and forgets all the positive things. So then those positive things pull you down. They're like negative things. They cover your intelligence, your mind, and make you think negatively and then act negatively, and then more negative situation comes. So you create your own situation and then you blame others. So people always say, why nobody loves me? Why should anybody love you? You should ask yourself, if nobody loves me, there must be something wrong with me, or it's something wrong with others. So I hear it many times, oh, nobody cares for me. Oh, nobody loves me. So is it your problem or their problem? So it looks like it's their problem, but if you are so lovable, people will love you. Right? But if they don't love you, then think about it yourself. But I hear this all the time. Nobody cares for me. Nobody loves me. I'm doing so much for others. So maybe the others are also doing something for you and you don't see it, or you are not really doing so much for others. There must be something. Something is wrong in the equation. So we have to think about that. So therefore he says that if you have good karma, then you will get it in your next life also. And if you have bad karma, you will get that. So therefore don't create bad karma now, because you cannot escape karma. Karma is so nicely designed that it doesn't leave you wherever you go. In Mahabharata they give the example that if there are 1,000,000 cows and there is one calf, then he will find the cow, the mother cow. He will run. He will not mistake and go to another one. So like that, karma will search you. Wherever you go, it will find you. Like a calf, and milk you. So better do good karma. So this says, therefore, tasmad idam strivad lakshanam papam dukkha bhoga sadhanam ma karshiriti dyotitam. So he says, therefore, what is the intention of speaking this verse? It says, do not perform this sinful act of killing a woman. So killing a child, killing a woman, killing a brahmana is very sinful. So any person who is helpless, killing that animals people are killing. So he says this is very sinful, and because it is sinful, what is sinful? It is the means to bring you suffering. Sin is not some mystical thing, but anything which makes you suffer later on, that is sin. So it is up to me. If I don't want to suffer, then I should not do sinful act. So papam phalam naichanti papam kurvanti yatnatah. Punyam na kurvanti mano ichanti punya phalam. So people don't do pious deeds, but they want the outcome of pious deed. And they don't want the sinful act or the result of sinful act, but sinful act they will do with great effort. Papam kurvanti yatnatah. Not casually, but with great plan. All these people who do these scams, right, who steal money, who rob others, who do some criminal activity, they plan it nicely. If you don't plan, you will not be successful. Right? You will get caught Because there is a police, there are people. So people make so much big plan, big effort. All these mafias, right? So they plan. So papam kurvanti yatnatah. They perform sin with great effort, great endeavor, but papam phalam na icchanti. They don't want the result of the sin. The result they want is good. So that does not work. Because karma never gets confused. You can get confused. You want the result of punya, but you do papa. Karma does not think like that, that okay, he actually wants the result of punya. No matter what he is doing, I should give him that result. No. The result will come. So therefore he says, why do you want to do this papam, this sinful act, which will make you suffer later on? So this is the use of intelligence. Intelligence means which gives you discrimination between right and wrong, good and bad, what is happiness and what is suffering. So it is not enough just to blame others, find fault with others. You have to take responsibility of your own actions. Because karma is going to come to you. So he gives an example of how the Atma leaves one body and goes to another one. So that you are never without a body. You are never nobody. You are always somebody. So he says, therefore don't worry. If you have this anxiety that what if I don't have a body, what will happen to me? So he says, no, that won't be there. So he says, Vrajans tishtan padai ekena yathaiv ekena gacchati yathatrin jalaukaiva dehi karma gatim gataha. So he says, just like a trin jalauka, it's a type of worm. You might have seen how they walk. They are straight, and when they walk, they bend their whole body like this. And then they catch the next leaf, and then they go like this and then lift from. So they go from one leaf to another leaf. They will be hanging onto this, and to go to the next leaf, the back part is still holding onto this, and with the front part they move like this to check. And when they catch the next one, then they lift this, and then they move to the second one. So he said, just as this Trinajalauka, this insect, it moves from one leaf to another leaf, and it is never without a leaf. So like that you also go from one body to another body, and you are never bodiless. So he says, don't worry. So Vrajans tishtan yadaikena yathaivikena gacchati. First he gives the example also of walking. He says, when you walk, so you have your feet on the ground, and then you lift one foot and you put the foot further down, and then when you have touched your one foot further down, then only you lift the second one. You don't lift both feet together. So unless you have put your foot down, you don't lift the back one. So he says, in the same way, your body is already ascertained, and then only you give up this body. Before you give up this body, next body is already fixed. You know where you are going. So don't worry. So I give these two examples. Vrajans tishtan padaikena yathaivekena gacchati. So Vrajan tishtan, with one foot you are holding, with the other you move, and then you move, and then you move. So you go like that. So then so dehi karma gatim gata. So similarly, the embodied being moves from one body to another body. So Uttar Deha Prapti Anantaram Eva Purva Deha Tyage Drishtanta. So how you give up the previous body after acquiring the next body, although it's not really exactly acquiring, but it is like reserved for you. So he gives an example. Yajan Vrajan Ganta Purushaha. So a person who is walking, Yatha Ekena Agrito Nihitena Pada Uttara Pradeshe Tishtaneva Purva Pradesh Adutpatya Puro Nihitena Ekena Gachati. So just as you put the one foot in front, and once you have established your one foot on the ground, then only you uplift the other foot from the behind, and in this way you move. Natu yugpat dvabhyam eva padbhyam. Not that you jump both feet, unless you are playing some game or something. But normally this is how you walk. So partyajya uttaram pradesham gacchati. Atra prapti tyago vastutah prithivya ekasyeva iti aparitushyan drishtantaram ahayat. So he gives another example. Why does he give another example? He says because in this case of walking, you are giving up same earth and you are putting your foot on the same earth. It's not really two different earths. So although it is true that you lift one foot, but that foot also you put on the earth only. So therefore he gives another example which is more precise, like an insect going from one leaf to another leaf. So only when he holds on to the second leaf with his front part of his body, then he releases the previous one and contracts itself and moves on to the second leaf. So here he actually goes from leaf to leaf. In the same way, the Atma goes from one body to another body. So when he has got the grip on the another body, then he leaves this body. So sahi trinantram avastabhyaiva purvam trinam tyajati. So he only when he has got a grip onto another leaf or another piece of tree or creeper or whatever, then only he leaves the previous one. Jaluka iti shashta swar madhyopi pathoge. So there are two words, one is jaluka, another is jalauka. So actually jalauka is used for the leech, because literally what it means is jala aukasa. Aukasa means house, means which has its house in water, and leech is found in the water, right? Sometimes in the lake or somewhere you go swimming and they can catch you and drink your blood. Or animals, they go in water and they, so it is jaluka and jalauka, both words are there. Proper is jalauka, which is in the sloka, but sometimes it's also seen as jaluka. So then he continues to talk to him. At least he is trying to dissuade him from killing Devaki. So he has to go on talking. Swapne yatha pashyati deham idrisham manorathena bhinivishta chetanaha drishta sutabhyam manasanuchintayan prapadyate tatkimapi hi apasmritihi.
Babaji, question.
Yes.
This Sashta Swara Madhya Api, this is a different part he is given someplace?
Yeah, some in the sloka is jalauka and it can be jaluka also.
So that's what it means, Shashta Swara Madhya?
Yeah,
Okay.
what is the Shashta Swara? What is the sixth vowel?
Six vowel.
Vilas. Right? So that's what it is. So the sixth swara in the middle, Jaluka. That's what he's saying.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Babaji,
Hmm.
in this last shloka, there are some like what we studied in Sandarbhas, that the jivas go into Paramatma's body and then karma is having a tag, and then that is only during pralay. But
Yes.
my question is because a jiva will be in one universe, so can there be a possibility that there is no corresponding karma and then he is put into some sleep kind of a situation, like
What?
he goes into, because karma has to be in relation with other people. Supposing if there is no karma, then he gets liberated, or
What do you
can
mean
he?
no karma? What do you mean by no karma?
Means in relation with others, there is no len den.
Yeah, but how is that possible? You're only making a hypothetical case. How is that he will not have any karma? Unless he is taken to some spiritual practice. Then of course he becomes liberated, does not take birth. But otherwise, how is one become free from karma, that he has no relation with others? Can you give some situation where it is possible?
Say like this Jad Bharat, but then he was a devotee. Supposing somebody is a mad person and he's just he doesn't deal with anyone.
Yeah, how is this possible that he does not deal with anyone? He has to eat, he has to sleep, he has to do something. What do you mean he doesn't deal with anybody? He is walking, he can also step on ants and kill them. Right? And even if he is not creating karma now, why you think that there is no karma coming from the past lives? It's not that all the karma is just your prarabdha karma, there is also sanchit karma. So there is accumulated karma, and out of that some karma is taken to give you this one particular birth, and the rest remains like a fixed deposit. So that will give you another birth even if you don't make any karma in this life. Like animals. Animals don't create karma because they are just following their nature. That does not mean that they will become non-liberated. They have karma which is not manifest. So there is so much karma. There is no lack. It's not a scarce entity. Yes.
That when the soul leaves the body, no? And then you mentioned about this kind of insect. And so means that already we are preparing the next body by our action now. So then my question, my curiosity, that in this body there is an aggregate of different billions of other souls also, right? And when they go, when we move in the next body?
Where do they go? They have their own karma. Everybody has their own karma. So whatever is their karma.
They disaggregate and then they aggregate to somebody else, they have their own story.
Yeah, they have their own karma. Now also they have their own karma. Everybody has their independent karma. Some things may be common with you, but that's still their karma. Even when we say common karma, means everybody has karma which is same, but it is your karma. Okay. So he says that swapne yatha pashyati deham idrisham manorathena abhinivishta chetanaha drishta shrutabhyam manasanuchinten prapadyate tat kimapi hi apasmriti. So he says just like in the dream we see some body. You may think yourself somebody, whoever, you become something. Because of abhinivishta chetana. When you think of something very deeply, either positively or negatively, then you can have dream of being that. So swapne yatha pashyati deham idrisham manorathena. And this absorption can come because of drishta shrutabhyam manasanuchinte. Either you see something or you hear something, and then you think of that with your mind and become absorbed. So by thinking deeply, you become absorbed, then that will come in the dream. So then you forget your present body. So in the same way, you take another birth and you forget this birth. So in the dream, if you become somebody else, sometimes it happens that you think of yourself as somebody. So then you are not aware of your present body. You are like in another life, and that body of dream body becomes real to you, and you forget everything else. So similarly, you go to the next body because of your absorption in whatever. As Krishna says, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajtayante kalevram tam tam aviti konteya sada tad bhava bhavita. That you are always rotating around that bhava, as if that bhava has caught you. So particular mood, particular state of mind, some predominant thought occupies your mind. So then at the time of death also you will be occupied by that particular thought. If you are too much attached to any object or any person, and you think of that too much in your living state, then when you die, then also you think of that, and that's what decides your next life. So, like you are sitting here, if you have to go from here, before you go, you already plan in your mind where you are going. Think of that, right? So similarly, the Atma also leaves this body, goes to another body, and he forgets this body. So he says, therefore, don't be too much attached to this body and think that I will never die. So many people have tried in the past to become immortal. Like Hiranyakashipu did so much austerity. What? So that I become immortal. Like now science is spending millions of dollars researching how to become immortal, without thinking that what will happen if people actually become immortal. And is it really desirable? So they don't think about it. Just do something new. Some research you have to do which nobody has done, so that you can get Nobel Prize. Not thinking whether this will bring good to humanity or not good to humanity. At that time, of course, they think it will bring something good. Or does they think some benefit will come, maybe to a limited class of people, maybe only to them, but usually they think like that. But it is not always true. So upayam Chintyan pragyo hi upayam api chintayet. When you think of a solution, you should also think of its effects, side effects. What can they be? So like there was these birds who had their eggs and children in the hollow of a tree, and one snake was eating them. So the bird thought that if I invite some mongoose, then he will kill the snake. So he put the fish on the path where mongoose living, and he came and he killed the snake, but then he started eating. So when you have to think of a solution, you also have to think of what is the effect of that. Sometimes you are weak, you take help from a strong person because some stronger person is troubling you, who is stronger than you, so you take help. So that person comes and gives you help and get that stronger person away from you, not troubling you, then he starts troubling you. Right? It happens here in Vrindavan. So somebody occupies your land and you are weak. So you go to a stronger mafia. He says, please help me to evacuate this guy. He says, yeah, I will help. So he comes and he evacuates, but then he sits and he doesn't move out. Now is a bigger problem. Maybe he could have dealt with the weaker one. Now he got a stronger one and he can't do anything with it. So he got rid of the snake, he got the mongoose. Now there is no cure for mongoose. So therefore we have to think. So he says that this body changes and you forget. So don't be too much absorbed in thinking that I have to protect this body. The idea is that this body is temporary and now you want to protect it. You want to become immortal, it won't happen. So Hiranyakashipu did so much austerity, but he was killed. He actually told when he can be killed. Right? When they take boon to become immortal, they already fix this is how I will be killed. If you see it from other side. Ravana took the boon, he also did tapasya, and Brahma came to give him boon. Then he says, well, just give me boon that I will be not killed by human beings and monkeys, by anybody else except human beings and monkeys. Because human beings and monkeys I can take care. Otherwise it looks like that this guy is so weak, he cannot even protect himself from monkeys. So he had the pride that I should not be defeated by devas or asuras, yaksha, rakshasa, but these human beings have no problem. So now he made sure that he will be killed by human beings and monkeys. So they came. So immortality therefore is not possible. So he said, Jivati api dehe pratidinam dehe prapti tyagau anubhavena darshayati. So he says, even when you are living in this body, every night you have the experience of giving up body and acquiring a new body. It's nothing new. So swapne, as in the dream. Swapne yatha idrisham jagrat dehatulyam deham pashyati. So as in the dream you see another body which is similar to the body you have now. Swapnam vinapi darshati manorathena, manorathe chaityartha. And sometimes even without dreaming you can see, right? Even in you are not dreaming, you can hallucinate. Take some drug, then you think you are somebody. Or you are deeply absorbed. Manoratha. Kapashyati iti aha abhinivishta. Who is that person who sees this? He says one who is abhinivishta, one who is very deeply absorbed. So such a person. Abhiniveshvati chetana yasya sa. Abhiniveshta chetana means his chetana, his consciousness is deeply absorbed in some particular thing. Then you become like that. So yadva manorathena vishyavanchaya chitta abhinivesh adhikyavan purushaya swapne idrisham deham pashyati. Or the other meaning is that because of one's wish, the desire for some particular sense pleasure, and because of that having very deep absorption of your mind, then you get that particular situation or body or form in your dream. Maybe you don't change your body, but the situation changes. You are in a different situation. Maybe you now think you are part of some rich family or in a different place. It's also change of body. Or you are old, but you see yourself as young. So abhinivesha prakaramaha. Then he explains the process of this absorption. So drishtam rajadi, so you drishta shruta. Either you have heard, you have seen Raja, king. So poor people see a rich person, then they naturally have the desire, I wish I were like him. They start thinking, dreaming, and then daydreaming, and then at night they may actually think they are king. So this is by drishta. And also by shruta. You hear so many things about heaven, or these days you hear of another country, how the situation is so nice there. So then you dream as if you are gone there. So that is shruta. You have not seen. So drishta rajadi, in the olden days, kings, and shruta indradi. You hear about Indra, then you want to be Indra yourself. So tabhyam abhyastabhyam janit sanskarvata. So because of the practice, thinking of that too much, then you develop samskara for that. And those samskaras become activated at night in the dream. So manusanuchintayan, thinking repeatedly through your mind, tat kimapi rajadi rupam eva prapadyate. And therefore you become the king. Rajadi uchit visha bhogavad deham atmanam pashyati ityartha. So even if you don't think that you have become somebody else, but you think yourself as having the opulence of the king. So that is as good as becoming the king. Apasmriti vastava deha smaran sunya. And you forget about your present situation, present condition, present body. Now you may have pain in your body, you are unable to walk, or you are unable to do something, but in the dream you do that. So he said, just as you have this experience of getting this new body in the dream, and then you wake up, you have another body, like that you change bodies. It's not permanent. Yato yato dhavati daiva chauditam manovikaraatmakam apa panchasu gunesu maya rachitesu dehi asau prapadyamana sahatena jayate. So yato yato dhavati daiva chauditam. So wherever the mind runs because of your deva, your fate, which here means basically your samskaras, manovikaraatmakam apa panchasu. So mind which transforms Mind goes, the vikara changes because of your thinking. And panchasu visheshu maya rachitesu dehiyasu. So there are this maya rachita, the products made by maya, the 5 vishayas for the 5 senses. So whatever you are absorbed in, whatever you are thinking of, so because of that, your mind, your consciousness becomes like that, and then you take another birth with that kind of mentality. So whatever you are going to achieve in your next life, you already produce that here. So as these days popularly they say that your future is in your hands, right? You are the creator of your fate. So this is what it means, that it is your actions which will bring the result and not somebody else's. So nanu drishtaha srutascha vishyo daiva preritena manasa स्मर्यमाणत्वात् मनसेव अस्तु ततो भिन्नेन आत्मना स्वभोगार्थम स कथम लभ्यताम्. So if you say that if this hearing or seeing sense objects and then mind becoming absorbed, so then that is all belonging to mind, what Atma has to do with that? So let mind change, Atma should not be involved in it. So he says the problem is that mind is identifying with it. And he gets it because of this thinking. So these days they say that whatever you want to become, you should think like that, right? The book of the secrets. So there's some truth in it, because whatever you think, then you will act accordingly, and you will create samskaras accordingly. And then you will get it. You may not get it in this life. Those people who get it in this life means they also already thought it in the past life and did some more work. Not everybody gets. Sometimes they make it look so simple that you don't have to do anything. When you think, I was reading in one book that when you think to achieve something, the whole nature starts changing for you, as if you are the master of the nature. So it's not like that. But in some certain circumstances it happens because of Kakataliya Nyaya. Right? There is a Nyaya called Kakataliya. There was a crow which was sitting on a tal tree, palm tree, and there was a fruit on it. So when he flew from the tree, the fruit fell down. So kakasya udyanamiva talasya patanamiva. So when he flew, the fruit fell down, so the crow thought that this fruit is falling because of my flying. No, the fruit was also about to fall at that time only, because it was so ripe. If the crow would not have flown, then also it will fall down. So sometimes things happen coincidentally as you think. So then you mistake it that it happened because of my thinking. So your thinking has a role to play, because that is also an action. Thinking is also an action. But it's not the only action which brings the result. There are other factors also involved. But many times you can be in this illusion when you plan something and it happens. You plan another thing, it happens. You think of something and that happens. You think of some person and that person comes. Right? So we had somebody living here, and she was saying, I can manifest things. So she actually strongly believed this. I was listening to her, that she can manifest things. So sometimes it happens, not all the time. But mind, this is how mind gets put into Maya. As it says, Maya Rachitesu. So they are actually Maya Rachitesu, Guneshu, Panchasu. They are all product of Maya, but sometimes your thought and the action of Maya become one. As Jiva Goswami is explaining in Paramatma Sandarbha, that when Krishna comes here, then he follows Yatha Kalam Anuguna Grinan, that verse from 7th canto, if you remember. So it appears as if he is also following the time. So then Jiva Goswami gave a long explanation that it's not following the time, it is time who follows him, and sometimes time cannot follow him, or Maya cannot follow him, and he gave the example of lifting Govardhan hill. So here gravity failed. All laws were defied by him. So sometimes it happens that what Maya is doing, what your karma is supposed to happen, you think you are doing it now, but it's actually coming from the past for which you have worked, and then you start thinking like that. So he says, therefore he says, Nanu drishta shrutascha vishayo daiva preritena manasa smaryamanatvat. Then what you hear, what you see, these objects, then your mind becomes influenced by them, and you think of them, and you become absorbed in them. So then how is that the Atma, which is separate from the mind, gets those objects for enjoyment? Tato bhinnena atmana svabhogartham se katham tatrahiyate. So panchasu visheshu madhya yato yato yatra yatra vikaratmakam mano dhavati dhavaccha sat apa tam tam vishyame me praptam bhavati asau dehi jivatena vishyabhinivishtena mansa saha sahityad heto tam vishyam prapadyamano jayate bhanjano. So he says that it is the mind which runs after these sense objects, which are the creation of Maya, and because of absorption he attains them, and then the embodied being is along with the mind, therefore he thinks that he is getting them, and he enjoys them. So it's only the mind which thinks, which becomes absorbed, and because of that you act and you get it, and Atma is going along with it. So that's how it happens. So therefore he says that if you have to be killed, you will be killed anyway. Don't think that you will be spared. Like King Parikshit was cursed to be killed by a snake on 7th day. So in Mahabharata story is little different. So when he heard it, he built a house inside the Ganga river in the middle on a pillar, and it was completely closed from all sides. Nobody could come inside, and he sat in it. So there Parikshit is not hearing Bhagavatam. He is just sitting in quarantine. So no virus can enter. It was made proof, but to speak of snake. But then he has to eat. So he got some fruit, and in the fruit there was an insect, and that insect turned into snake and bit him, and he died. So he could not escape. So like that, as Parikshit died on 7th day, everybody has to die on 7th day. Right? Because every day is the 7th day. If you start from Monday, Sunday is the 7th day. If you start from Tuesday, then Monday is the 7th day. So depending on where you start, every day can be the 7th day. And everybody is cursed to die with the 7th. So that is the snake. So we'll stop here if there is any question.
So you spoke about how the absorption of the mind reflects in the dreams. So this means that my dreams are a good indicator for what I'm absorbed in.
Yes.
So
That's why in psychoanalysis they study the dreams. That's what Freud used to do. He wrote a book, Dreams.
And so I have two questions regarding to that. First one would be, what would you recommend, practically speaking, for us doing practice? How much attention and what kind of attention should we give to dreams?
What do you mean? For analyzing?
Yes.
Well, you can analyze. I mean, you don't have to sit down and brood over them, but I don't know, most of the dreams you don't remember.
Yeah.
But if there are some prominent dreams, you can think what is the meaning behind it. It can be helpful to study your chitta.
And what I've observed is that sometimes my dreams seem to reflect what's going on during the day, but also I can also dream of things, accounts, persons that have happened a long time ago, or that I thought I'm really surprised this is still stored there. So for example, during the japa retreat I could observe this, that suddenly I was dreaming of very strange things, so to speak. So in this case it seems that my dreams don't.
So that means you still had some attachment to those things, which is coming out now. That's what it means. Although you may have forgotten them in your present life, but you are still holding on to something. And because of japa, it is getting activated.
So you mentioned that so what I understood is due to repetitive thinking we create sanskaras, and then they get activated during the dream.
Yeah, also wakeful state, not only during dream. Even in your wakeful state they give you thoughts, can give you feelings, desires.
So isn't it that a sanskara always needs a trigger?
Yeah, but trigger can be time also. Time also triggers.
Like at 6 o'clock I feel like, I'm hungry.
That's what I'm saying. Time is also, there are many things which trigger samskara.
Okay.
It's not just similarity, that is one of the major things.
Yeah.
It could be your karma, it could be time, certain things, just a particular emotion which can trigger some samskara related to that.
So that's why continuously remembering Harinam creates a sanskara of connecting anything with the name.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, Babaji, like we find that Vasudev is in a very critical situation, and after like he gets into a very philosophical discussion, not exactly discussion, discourse. But in normal life, we find that philosophy is something which, when you are a little calm, peaceful in your mind, and then only it gets into your head.
So that shows that he is not perturbed in that sense.
No, I am talking from Kamsa's point of view.
Well,
So,
in India, you might have heard some death happens in somebody's family, everybody is crying, and people come and speak philosophy to them. Isn't it? So
yes,
philosophy is not always just peaceful. In fact, when you're peaceful, you never talk of philosophy. If you talk of philosophy in your peaceful time, then you will not have problems. People use philosophy only when there's a trouble. That's why the very same people who come and preach, when they are in trouble, they forget the philosophy. Then others have to come and remind them. Okay.